So now I am working in ID Finance. ID Finance is a fintech company. Just to begin highlights about ID Finance here. We are a group of companies. We operate in different countries, such as Mexico, such as Spain, Kazakhstan, Russia. These are our active markets. And we have a range of financial products, again, varying from B2C lending products, and also we have enterprise products such as risk management, scoring management solution, let's say. The company have been growing pretty fast. So basically growing revenue 2-3 times each year. And we started basically in Russia back in 2013, and then we spread geographically into other geographies. But when we also decided to increase our product line, diversified a little bit, and we launched different products such as digital banking, such as mortgage products. We started lending for, not only lending, actually financial products for small, medium businesses. And now, as I mentioned, we are also working on some products for enterprise clients. Okay, if we go to basically to the topic of our conversation, yeah. So working in ID Finance, and also earlier from my past experience in other companies, I was always working with different countries, different people from different countries, and it has been a challenge all the time, because basically there are some challenges, right? There are some challenges when you are located in one country, when you speak one language, when you attain one culture. It is a little bit difficult to understand different mentality, different culture, get up to speed with a different market. Yeah, and I think as more and more companies, sorry, just let me open the window here. As more and more companies going global, I think more and more product managers are now facing the same problem. Yeah, the same challenge, because basically this is not something which is, let's say, traditionally taught in product management courses. Yeah, for example, how to do customer development if you don't speak your client's language, right? So how would you do that? So I decided to raise this topic, to discuss it. I wouldn't say I have ready answers for all the questions. It's more like food for thought, which I would like to share from my experience, right? So basically differences lay mainly in these 4 categories, which you can see on this slide, which are basically clients. Yeah, clients mentality, clients behavior is different. Obviously, different market, different players. Infrastructure, here I mean all the facilities, all the maybe legal regulation, or some let's say government services which you would need for your product. In our case, for example, this is financial regulation. This is credit bureau, for example, yeah, as we use credit history data for client assessment. Yeah, and last but not least is also the personnel. Yeah, people you would hire locally, right? So those people will be quite different from what you would expect in your native country. Yeah. So let's maybe go one by one, and let me bring some of the most let's say conspicuous examples of cases which we have in our experience. Yeah. in this regard. One of the, let's say, most popular things which are frequently mentioned is the different, and this relates to the area of the client differences, right? So one of the big things which differentiate some countries from other countries is how do they use internet, basically. Yeah, we know very well that in some countries there were, let's say, personal computer PC era, and then smartphones appeared. But in some countries, such as Mexico, Pacific Asia, Africa, people jumped through the PC era directly into smartphone stage. Yeah, so they are used to consuming online data, using internet via smartphone, not via computer, yeah, via laptop or something like that. And this is something, again, unusual, for example, for me, yeah, because, well, I'm like middle-aged person, yeah, and also from Russia, so I'm more used to use laptop if I need to do some heavy operations, like, for example, banking stuff, yeah. And basically, in many of our geographies where we are present, we of course see that share of mobile web traffic is around 80%. Yeah, so majority of people access our services through mobile, but we also have mobile application, yeah, like separate application for Android, which is not really used in countries like Spain, in countries like Russia. So its penetration is around 10%, like 10% of new clients start interaction with us with downloading mobile application rather than accessing our website through mobile web, yeah, just 10%. And then it grows up to 25% with repeat clients, yeah, with recurring clients. So, and we continue doing this strategy that, okay, so we have this mobile application, but probably it's not like the highest priority, yeah. But when we launched mobile application in Mexico, yeah, quickly it gained more than 50% of adoption. Like more than half of our clients started interacting with us through mobile application, not through the web page. So they did this effort of downloading and installing the application, and then like interacting with our services, yeah. And well, this was like the first kind of surprise, yeah. And then we started digging into it, and we discovered that there are also a lot of mobile app-only players, competition, yeah, competitive players in the market, which we really didn't pay attention before, yeah, before we launched our mobile application. So basically, what happened is that we were underestimating our, let's say, market, our competition landscape, yeah, because we underestimated the role of mobile application in the country, yeah. So I think that's a pretty good example of such a difference, which basically brings significant takeaways, yeah, for the business as a whole. So another example, for instance, how clients discover products. Yeah, so we are like digital company. Yeah, we provide our services online. So in all the countries, basically, we launched initially our financial services online through internet. Yeah. But then at some point we discovered that in Kazakhstan, we actually can get better clients not via online channels, which we are using in all other countries, but through offline channels. Yeah, so there is a network of let's say agents or small offices in Kazakhstan spread across the whole country. And those guys, they do provide financial services, and clients, they just stop by these places, and then they are served by those agents, basically in offline. Yeah, and what we discovered is that we can get, we're talking about primarily about lending products, yeah, credits, financial credit, personal credits. And basically what we discovered is that the discipline, financial discipline of the clients, which we get through offline channels, is better rather than what we get in online channels, which was quite interesting. Yeah. So basically what we did is we changed our strategy quite significantly. We started investing in offline channels. Well, of course, we still being like online company with this streamlined processes, but we built this offline acquisition funnel. So we started building incentive schemes for these agents which were already present. Then we started basically opening our own points of sales. Yeah. And basically now we want to have our exclusive network of partners, offline network of partners, which is also quite interesting, let's say, divergence from what we traditionally do, yeah, in other countries. So because traditionally we use online channels such as, well, CPC, social media, affiliate networks, yeah, so those online channels. But in Kazakhstan, it proved to be better actually to use offline channels due to mentality of the people. Yeah, so the people, they are more used to offline in-personal communication. And when we're talking about financial products, there is more trust in this person-to-person communication rather than in online, and therefore in online we get actually worse clients. Yeah. Worse in terms of financial discipline.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can I ask you about the previous slide? Because that was very interesting, and I'm don't going to interrupt you, but
sure, yeah,
very interesting. We can see that India is growing very quickly, and it's the biggest revenue here. Mobile usage and everything. This what do you think? Why this, and what about and what is connected with?
Well, actually, that's like overall picture. Yeah, this is the slide which I found on the internet to illustrate the differences in mobile app consumption. Frankly speaking, I didn't give much thought to it. But I think just the point is that the growth, okay, that's like 1 year growth. Well, no, I don't have an answer right now. Yeah, I don't have an answer because we are not operating in India yet. So I don't really have that much information about that market. Yeah. So I just put this slide to illustrate the differences, right, between different countries in terms of like basically number of hours spent. Yeah, so how many hours are spent in different countries in average. Okay. Another example, I think the last one, yeah. Another example is related to the way people actually pay. Yeah, so we have, as I mentioned, we have lending business, so people need to repay their credits. And this is also something which is done very differently in different countries. Yeah, so in, let's say, Western European countries such as Spain or, well, Russia, Eastern European countries. Yeah, you would expect like as a normal behavior that people just pay with a card. Yeah, so they link a card like with Uber, with Netflix, whatever services. Yeah, and they just the card is just being charged when it's need to be charged. However, again, if we speak about Mexico, for example, in Mexico we have half of the payment made offline. Yeah, so there are several retail chains, and I'm talking about small shops like which sells groceries, cigarettes, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and there are several big ones, such as I don't know. I don't think those names tell something, but the names are Oxxo, for example, or 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is actually from States, I think. And those networks are connected to payment systems, so a client can actually come and while he buys, I don't know, cigarettes or milk or something, he can pay something like, for example, financial services. So he can pay his mobile phone, top up his mobile phone, and this is heavily used in Mexico. Because Mexico is really big cash economy still, like more than 80% of transactions is done in cash still, yeah. And this is also reflected in the way we do business there, yeah. In Kazakhstan also, interesting thing is that only half of online payments is done with Visa or MasterCard, MasterCard cards. Yeah, it happens to be that in Kazakhstan we have this unicorn big bank named Kaspi. Yeah, and Kaspi provides its own payment system, which is similar to how this is called in English, quick payment system in Russia, for example, or Bizum in Spain. So this is something like with QR codes, when you scan a QR code and then you can just pay, yeah, via QR code.
It's kind of Western Union system, not the similar, but
I don't know, maybe
instant payment. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so basically you're bypassing the Visa and MasterCard schemes, yeah, which is also
contact maybe. In Russia.
Yeah, maybe,
but
yeah,
like
maybe it's similar. But the point is that in Kazakhstan it's so widespread, so that really half of, if you take the statistics, half of the online payments is done through Kaspi Pay actually, yeah. So Visa and MasterCard are not getting their fees from this half of the online payments, which is very different from States or from Spain, for example. So again, something to look at, yeah, something to take into account, definitely, if you need to take payments, right? Okay, so what about customer development, by the way? Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning that, okay, so there are different things in different countries, clients' behavior is different. How are we going to go about it? Yeah. The biggest problem I personally have, is customer development indeed. So how do we get insights? I wouldn't again say that I have ready answer to this question. If somebody has, would be happy to learn more about other approaches. What we do is several things. Well, first of all, we can do nothing. Yeah, we can just not do customer development. We can rely on data. We can run tests like this test, that tests, and since business is still quite similar, quite to some extent, and client behavior is relatively similar, and I'll mention about that later. We can just rely on, quantitative experience. Yeah. Another thing is we can employ customer support teams for different surveys, or we can just do this email surveys or something like that. Yeah. The problem is, again, that this is not qualitative methodology, this is quantitative, because neither customer support nor email forms, like questionnaire forms, they will give you very deep insights about what client thinks. They'll just give you some things which client answer, yeah, which is quite a superficial data at the end of the day, from which you cannot really call it customer development, right? So then another approach would be to use a research agency, and this is something which we do with some success, yeah. Usually, if you're able to pick a good research agency which is into your domain, they can do really good customer development, customer researches, yeah. The problem is that when we do customer researches with the research agencies, usually we mainly rely on the raw data, yeah. So we listen to the conversations. Here we deal with different language, so you cannot just listen to the conversation. So basically that was the reason, for example, why I started learning Spanish myself, because we're operating in 2 Spanish-speaking countries, yeah. So there is some added value of understanding Spanish, yeah. I can cover 2 markets. So basically I can read the transcript of the conversation and rely not only on the conclusions of the research agency, but also on the something which I can read from the conversation. Of course, I will be missing a lot of these subtleties, yeah. And I think the last thing which we do is just to hire a local product management team and let them do this customer development. And about hiring, I'll mention a little bit later. Another point which I would recommend is related to market understanding, like how to get up to speed, yeah, with the local market. Basically, important thing is to visit the country, yeah, even if you do not really talk with people and live there, but you can still understand something. Yeah, for example, when I was in Mexico, I saw these queues in the paydays to the ATMs, which quite clearly demonstrated this cash economy. Yeah, so when people get paid to their cards, yeah, bank accounts, they go and withdraw money because they do not really use them electronically. This is something which you would not encounter neither in Spain or in Russia, for example, but you can see it clearly in Mexico, for example. Other thing is to talk with people from your domain. Yeah, so you may just find people from the same industry, talk with them. Usually those people, they do speak English at least, yeah. Read news, obviously, yeah, and also read relevant social networks. So there are usually some social networks or reviews, for example, Google Play reviews, which you can read to understand how people, what people think about your competition and what do they value, what do they like, what do they dislike, yeah. And about hiring, I'm trying to go a little bit faster because I see that running a little bit out of time. About hiring, when I mentioned like hiring a product team would be a good solution for customer development and basically for building the local product management expertise. But hiring itself is a challenge, yeah, when you try to hire in another country. Basically, initially you will face with the problems such as nobody knows you, you require mandatory English, which decreases the number of candidates and raises their salary automatically. Especially, for example, in Mexico, people who speak English they are paid much higher, yeah, than other guys. You would probably have too high expectations. Well, in particular in product management, I used to work with product managers with quite high technical background. I'm not saying that they can code or do something like that, but at least they can do proper calculations, right? So they can conclude the A/B tests. They can calculate the economics or business case. Yeah, this is something which I used to have when I hire in Russia, but due to some probably peculiarities of education in neither in Spain or in Mexico, for example, I can't find such a background. So I would, at the end of the day, I needed to change my expectations. Yeah, otherwise just goes nowhere. And another problem which we faced in different markets was that people were more, let's say, executors rather than leaders. You know that product management is about building right products, right? Yeah. So the part which is related to which products to build was not really covered. So product managers, which there are a lot of product managers on the market there. They are more like product owners or project managers, and they are mainly expect to be driven by somebody else, like top management telling them what to do. Yeah.
Good. I'm sorry, but we have only 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
And we have one question from YouTube. Can you recommend good agencies for CastDev in Asia?
In Asia, right now, no. So we just started working in Asia. So in Asia, I don't have. I can recommend in Spanish-speaking markets so far only. So anything related to Spanish-speaking markets, you're welcome. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. You have a great speech. That was very interesting to me because I'm working finance area as well.
Cool.
Not in film market, but just in general finance.
Right. Okay. So if any questions, anybody, I guess my contacts are available somewhere. So guys can reach me.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a good speech.